Yes, the AP poll, where a bunch of nerds vote on Notre Dame being number 10 in the country and BYU and TCU and Baylor unranked, because that's the college football world that we live in. It's very stupid. And this is Locked On Big 12.
You are Locked On Big 12, your daily podcast on the Big 12 Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Happy Tuesday, everybody. Welcome to Locked On Big 12. I'm Drake Toll from America's #1 Big 12 podcast. There aren't that
Drake.
many. It's Locked On Big 12. That's Spencer McLaughlin of Locked On College Football. He just did 33,000 views on a video because UCLA is bad at football. We will start with the fact that there's a beat reporter from Fresno State that gets to determine where College Game Day goes every week. That's what the AP poll is. Like, we, in essence, are like, hey, yeah, you nerd who's 26 and you work at the local paper, why don't you tell me that you think that Notre Dame should be ranked and that Texas A&M should?
Interesting take to dunk on ages in the AP voting process when our average age is, in fact, 26 years old.
I watch college football. That's the difference between me and
that is a decided difference. This is true.
We will start there. And then College Game Day, speaking of, they're going to bad versus good this week. They're going to go to Miami and completely skip over. Honestly, I'm not just going to wax poetic about Big 12 here. We will talk a lot about Utah and Texas Tech in that segment. But also, they're overlooking other good games. Like Illinois is a real football team that could have hosted College Game Day, and they won't because ESPN is ESPN. Then finally,
it's at Indiana, but yeah.
But Illinois is the better of the two, I think. And then we'll get into 5 Big 12
I think
teams
so, too.
in the top 11 in defensive efficiency in college football. BYU is number 1 by multiple percentage points, which is over Texas, which is crazy. Why isn't the Big 12 getting defensive respect? If you hit subscribe, we get to keep our jobs. Can you believe it? The AP poll, let's start here. We have AP voters, and I was talking with Coach Gary Patterson about this, actually. We have AP voters who have, if we are able to expose them, I won't use them by name, who have South Carolina at 10, Vanderbilt unranked. Another one who has the Gamecocks at 15, Vanderbilt unranked, and multiple with Missouri in their top 10. Can anyone explain to me how we have a literally defeated Notre Dame in the top 25 at number 24, first time since 1988, but undefeated Big 12 schools not in this conversation at all? Question mark?
Yeah, brand bias is the answer. You don't have to like that answer. That's just what it comes down to. I don't think there is a single current Big 12 team, regardless of the schedule that they play early in the year, that could go 0-2 and wind up in the top 25. Notre Dame being a preseason top 10 team, I do think was warranted. They were in the national championship game last year. They bring back a good chunk of their roster, including but not limited to Jeremiah Love. I think CJ Carr is actually really good at quarterback. And my issue with the AP poll when it comes to Notre Dame here is that they're ranked right now. If you want to rank them again later, that's fine. I actually don't have a problem with that whatsoever, especially given the criteria they laid out before the year, where they're saying, hey, when you lose to a good team and it's close, we're not going to punish you as much for that. That's fine. But Notre Dame has not earned the right this year. They earned the right to be a preseason top 10 team. They did not earn the right to be in the AP poll after losing both of those games. Because remember, Drake, it's early in the year. Like we think Texas A&M is good. I think Texas A&M is a good team. I don't think they're a great team, but I think they're a good team. Number 10 in the country, we'll see. We'll see if Marcel Reed can be more consistent throwing the football. He was consistent enough against Notre Dame, made enough plays in a spectacular one late. But you're still early in the season, so even the wins that or losses that look good or feel good right now, you can't know for certain. So they're just saying, well, we know that Texas A&M is going to be really good. Well, what if they lose a couple times later in the year? Is Notre Dame going to then fall out of the top 25? Like, let's say Texas A&M, I forget off the top of my head who their next opponent is. I can pull it up here in a sec. But like, let's say they lose their next game. They play Auburn. Auburn is their next game. They have a bye this week. If they lose to Auburn, does Notre Dame drop out of the top 25? Because then, Texas A&M, not quite as good as we thought, because now Texas A&M can't be ranked 10th. They've got to fall after that. Now, Auburn's got to shoot up these rankings.
What do you
I don't know, dude. I'm sorry. My computer makes noises at me sometimes. I've tried to turn it off. I don't even notice it sometimes. Like it
blood
comes and
oxygen
goes.
level low, or are you?
No,
okay?
I don't know. I don't know what it is. My computer just beeps at me sometimes. It should stop. But anyway, that's the logic I think they're using, and I think it is wrong.
Not that you were rambling here. I think you're coherent in your points. But what you just laid out for me, the idea that if Notre Dame continues to win or lose, or A&M continues to win or lose, almost showcases like Utah. Their win against UCLA is diluted. It's continually diluted by how bad UCLA is. I don't think the AP voters are thinking that way. I don't even know if they're watching the games themselves. And then the lack of accountability when they wear these things. Also, the idea that the AP vote really does go toward, and I've heard college football coaches talk about it, recruiting. Being in the top 25 is huge for recruiting. And
I can't stop paying attention. I don't know what it is.
Do you have malware? What's happening?
I don't know. It's never done it this much.
Your computer's...
It's just, it really doesn't want me to be on the show. I think that's what this comes down to.
Hijacking the show today. I at the end of this, the AP poll, the AP voters have too much control. I hate it. I don't want any more of it. You figure that out. I have an ad read to get to, and then we'll get into college game day being terrible. Okay. This is Locked On Big 12, part of the Locked On College Football. God, I'm done.
What is happening?
Today's show is brought to you by PrizePicks. PrizePicks is exactly where I go. I think that's what it is. That is the PrizePicks little blurb. It's the notification bell that it gives you when you get a notification from PrizePicks. It's what's happening to Spencer because he's winning so much money. This episode being brought to you by PrizePicks is because I make decisions every day on PrizePicks to pick more or less on 2 or 6 or 3 or 4 player projections. You can turn your takes into real prizes in less than 60 seconds. I've been playing PrizePicks. I can throw Josh Allen over 250 passing yards with Travis Kelce over 38 receiving yards, and then bam, both those hit. That's money in my pocket. Cash it, count it. Yes, the best part, even if one of your picks loses, PrizePicks invented the flex play, so you can still double your money. Download the PrizePicks app today. Use code LOCKEDONCollege. Get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONCollege for $50 in lineups after your first $5 play. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. Be right today with PrizePicks. Now that we've recovered from Notification Gate, can you tell me why our friends at ESPN have elected to go to Florida and Miami this weekend for College Game Day when Texas Tech, Utah, which will be the crux of the conversation here, Auburn, Oklahoma, I know we just went to Norman, but it's a pretty big game, and then even my friends Illinois and Indiana will all square off in top 20 matchups, but no, we're going to go visit the 1-2 Florida Gators who just threw another interception.
You ever hear that online moniker, SECSPN? SESPN?
Are you finally buying into it? You, Mr. Locked On Big 12 is clickbait. What if I was right the whole time?
Okay. There's way too much to unpack in that sentence for this show, and it is not worth our time here. But that's the simplest explanation, because how in the world do you justify a 1-2 team? Because it's an in-state rivalry? Who cares? There is no other league. I think this is the worst public-facing example of this that we have seen since Kirk Herbstreit stood in the broadcast booth after Tennessee got their doors blown off by Ohio State and was talking about Indiana getting into the playoff, and boy, they just looked at wins like, whoa. Indiana played a tighter game than Tennessee. Why are you talking? It was right in front of you, Kirk. You watched the game. You called the game. Indiana's playing over there. What are you doing? I was one of those moments where you have almost an out-of-body experience, and you just kind of go, wait, what is being said? How is this happening right now? This can't be what you actually think or believe. I had to quintuple check. Gosh, DJ Lagway's bad. I had to quintuple check. Not as bad as the update to the ESPN app, by the way. Horrible. I mean, truly horrible. I looked so many times to make sure that Game Day going to Miami, Florida wasn't from a spam account, that I wasn't being had, that it was legitimate, because I was just thinking there's no way you just did this. There is no way. that you're going to go and call the game in which Florida is going to be a sizable underdog. And if Miami wins, they'll fall to 1-3.
By the way, Florida now 3-point dogs.
Florida's only a 3-point dog.
3-point dogs. Look at this. Incredible. 3-point dogs.
That is pretty incredible. Is that what FanDuel has the line at? I thought I saw the line.
Field goal.
That feels like overvaluing Florida to me.
Yeah, by a lot. What?
By a pretty sizable amount.
The kid has 6 interceptions.
In his defense, by the way, on FanDuel, it's 7.5.
Oh, wow. Thanks, ESPN, for 3. That's crazy.
That is a wild discrepancy.
Oh,
and,
geez.
Lagway last week, I've said all offseason, I like DJ Lagway. Yeah. I do. It's his head coach that I don't like. Have you ever seen a quarterback, Drake? Stop me if you've heard this one before. Get completely transformed when he goes to an actually competent situation. Sam Darnold in the NFL recently comes to mind. He was with the Jets. He was with, who else did he try and start? I don't even remember. Oh, look, he's an MVP candidate with who? Kevin O'Connell, competent head coach. This is DJ Lagway in college right now. He does not have a head coach who's good enough to be in the SEC. We've known this for the last couple of years. Florida just doesn't want to admit it. But them getting this game is such a slap in the face to the Big 12. I mean, an absolute slap in the face.
Yeah, it's certainly a slap in the face to Utah and Texas Tech, which would be a great place to host it. 10 a.m., that sucks. Like that alone's a slap in the face. They have to play 10 a.m. local time between 2 of the best teams in this conference. Your 2 of your 3 highest ranked teams in the league. But you get the big noon deal. Dave Portnoy is coming to town, who's friends with the Big 12 now. That's always an interesting thing to ponder in the last 10 days. And you're overlooking through ESPN what I think could be one of the better matchups between 2 teams that analytically are elite on defense and have really good offenses. Texas Tech's passing game, number 1 in the country. For Utah, their ability to work through Devin Dampier, who can both throw and run, is incredible. We're going to see what I think is possibly number 1 versus number 2 in the Big 12 here with Texas Tech and Utah.
Yeah, I think that's entirely on the table with Kansas State plummeting to the bottom. But do we need to talk about Arizona as being an upper tier team in the Big 12? I'm just throwing it out there.
Already?
What would you have said a year ago at this time about Arizona State because of your preseason perception?
Yep.
And then what did you end up saying about them at the end of the year? And by the way, in a quarterback dominant league, Arizona has a darn good one who is in his second year with a new system and looks to be playing ball that is closer to what he was a few years ago when he was Pac-12 Freshman of the Year. Just throwing it. His talent didn't go away. Noah Fafita didn't just suddenly become an untalented quarterback. He didn't have an injury that significantly changed his ability to play the position. I'm just throwing it out there. They played a pretty darn good game against Kansas State, who does not look good, who gets in their own way a lot. I don't understand it whatsoever. And that coaching staff has done a really poor job with Avery Johnson. I'm just saying, watch out for Arizona.
Arizona could be good. For now, I do believe Texas Tech and Utah are both better than Arizona, and
I
both,
agree.
yeah,
I agree.
are both at the top of the league. If you look at the deep analytics, efficiency-wise, Texas Tech is number 6 in the country throwing the football. Utah's defense number 3 against the pass. Defensively, Tech's number 7 against the rush. Utah number 21 running the football. Rubber meets road, rock, hard place, immovable, unstoppable. Who wins this game?
I lean Utah here at home. With competent quarterback play, how many times has Utah lost at Rice-Eccles?
Ooh, yeah, probably 0.
It's not a big number.
Yeah,
it's really not. There are losses there that I can remember over the last couple of seasons. Obviously, BYU got them there a season ago with, I don't even remember, at quarterback.
Isaac Wilson, brother of Zach Wilson.
Yeah, that wasn't very good. The year before, I know Oregon drubbed him, and that was with Bryson Barnes, who was a better story than he was a football player. The pig farmer, capable, all that, good backup, but not a true starting caliber guy. I'm probably leaving a game or 2 out that they lost at home a year ago. Arizona might have gotten them at home last year. Am I remembering that incorrectly?
Arizona did get them. That is correct.
Yeah. So I think that for Utah, when when you put Kyle Whittingham, who is trying to, I think, make the most out of his probably last year coaching ever, with good quarterback play. I think the offense has been really seamless with Jason Beck, the offensive coordinator. Don't confuse him with Jason Eck, the New Mexico head coach. We don't want to get our wires crossed there. Utah's just been a good football team, and I don't think that Wyoming game was quite as impressive as Utah fans would like it to be. It's a tough place to go. Laramie's always got a really good crowd, underrated crowd in the Group of 5 ranks, and it's always a fun environment to watch. Texas Tech learned that a couple of years ago when they went there and lost, but this is a very different Texas Tech team. The Red Raiders, my preseason number 1 team in the Big 12 coming in my power rankings over on Locked On College Football, and I stand by that as long as Baron Morton is fully healthy. Like they have looked like the team I thought they would. Throw up the Texas Tech last 5 if you're able to shift that over right there. I know they haven't played any world beaters yet. Oregon State is a major yikes, and Kent State, oh boy, and what is that? Arkansas Pine Bluff, yeah. Probably. When you're a preseason conference favorite, that's how those scores are supposed to look. And Utah's got the same kind of thing on the other side. So I think that if Texas Tech goes in and wins, they will be fulfilling all the hopes that many had for them coming into the year, including myself. And I don't think that either team is out or screwed majorly if they lose this matchup, because I think this is going to be a really high-level football game, and it is a bummer that GameDay isn't there. Like, I'm just a GameDay fan myself, because that's the one I've always watched. That's the one that I think is a better production. It's fun that Big Noon is there, and the crowd will get to gather. But, yeah, ESPN going to Florida, man, that's some kind of joke.
Texas Tech starters have outscored opponents 135-0 right now.
They will not do that on Saturday. Bold prediction time, Drake. Bold. The boldest prediction. They will not put up 135 points against Utah.
Ferris State might against UT Rio Grande Valley this week, though. That's number 121 in the country versus number 721 in the country per, I think, Fornelli. That's a fun.
Isn't UTRGV 2-0?
Maybe I'm getting my schools mixed up here. Maybe it's East Texas Baptist. It's somebody like that. It's one of those. Maybe they're 3-0, by the way.
I don't know who UTRGV has played. They literally just started playing football, so they might have scheduled a couple of Division 4 opponents out there, or lower than that, to start the era with some wins. But
School of the Blind. Coming up, BYU, Utah, Texas Tech, good at defense. Even another surprise team that I think Spencer's going to be excited about. This, we still get no respect, is Locked On Big 12. Today's show is brought to you by GameTime. Look, I wanted to go see Tyler Childers live in concert a couple of weeks. He released a new album, and I want to see him sing the entire album live. What did I do? I went to GameTime. Why did I go to GameTime? Because with college football back, with the NFL back, with concerts still going on all of the time, I couldn't be more excited to finally get my butt in a seat at one of his shows, or my butt in a seat at a college football game. And that's why I use GameTime for not just concerts, not just football, but comedy shows and the like. I could buy a ticket with GameTime to sit on my couch, in there and do whatever I want from GameTime. And you can find your favorite college football games, your favorite concerts for as low as $25. The app makes it super simple. I could even see the exact view from my seat before buying. I love zone deals as well, and you can take the guesswork out of buying college football or concert tickets with GameTime. Download the app, use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, promo code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go, download GameTime, and do it today with the GameTime app. That's GameTime. So get this. Did you know the Big 12 is good at defense?
That's just impossible.
America will try to tell you the Big 12 is not good at defense. America is incorrect. Spencer McLaughlin, may I welcome you to the number 1 defensive team in the country per ESPN Analytics, the BYU Cougars. Their efficiency rating is 98.2%. They are 98% efficient on defense. Number 2 in the country is Texas at 92%.
Okay, I have to point something out right off the bat.
What? Defense.
Using ESPN's metrics, is that something that we really trust a whole heck of a lot? The FPI changed without any significant player movement after SEC media days.
Yeah, that's the FPI. This is efficiencies. Come on, man.
It just struck me as I didn't think you were going to go to ESPN's metrics to say, look at all of this sort of stuff. That just struck me as odd. Is all I'm saying.
One is Football Power Index. If I look at defensive success per game on paper, also looking at efficiencies, if you combine BYU's defense both against the run and against the pass, number 6 in the country, namely really good against the rush. I mean, whatever metric you look at, you're finding a top 10 defense in the country here with the Cougars. But what I like also is Texas Tech is 3rd in the country. You see Arizona is also ranked 6th. They're top 10. Utah is at 10.
Arizona, really?
Houston at 11. That's your surprise.
How interesting. How interesting.
Arizona at 6. What's crazy, though, BYU at 98%, Texas at 92%. So that's a 6-point gap. To get from 92 to 86, we're going to have to go down to number 13. So the gap between 2 and 13 is the same as the gap between 1 and 2, BYU ahead of Texas. We are not talking enough about very elite defenses in the Big 12 that I think could transfer into postseason play, if not the college football playoff, when possibly 2 teams make it in.
Well, that is a difficult narrative for the Big 12 to overcome, whether it is justified or not. I think the national perception of the conference is they score a bunch of points because traditionally that's what it used to be. I think that absolutely has changed over the years. You think about when Kansas State has been at their best, they've been able to play some good defense. Iowa State, good defensive team. Utah, one of the best defensive programs in all of college football. Texas Tech realized after last year, perhaps we should invest in that side of the ball. TCU realized, hey, maybe we need to, really place some emphasis over here. And I think Andy Avalos is doing a good job so far.
Yeah.
So, I think for the Big 12, the defensive narrative, it's not going to shift all at one time. I think what the conference is struggling with, what you're talking about with how it's perceived and how it's seen nationally, is they have had some really bad outcomes in the non-conference slate that are going to be tough to shake. And I've talked about this a lot over on Locked On College Football. And the ACC is very quickly running into the same problem, by the way, because Baylor beat SMU and Clemson has 2 losses. Georgia Tech could get in there. We'll see how sustainable it is for Haynes King to run the ball, 15 to 25 times a game, and whether he can consistently stay on the field there. He's an awesome guy to root for over at Georgia Tech. But I do wonder about that with the Yellow Jackets. But I mean, the problem the Big 12 is going to run into come playoff selection time from the committee is what's their best non-conference win right now? Probably
on the road against SMU, maybe.
I think that's probably one of them. Same team lost to Auburn at home and was, I think, decidedly the second best team on the field, despite Sawyer Robertson clearly being the best quarterback in the game. ASU losing to Mississippi State, not a great look. Speaking of the AP poll, by the way, where's Mississippi State? And we didn't even. We need to dive into that for at least a couple of minutes. Arizona State getting dropped from the top 25 because of a road loss at the buzzer, pretty much, to Mississippi State is wild work when you consider that Alabama was manhandled by a 2-win team from last year who people have a perceived perception of. Mm-hmm. And then Bama gets to stay in the top 25. Why? That's another classic example of SEC and brand bias. ASU going from 11 to unranked for that loss. They didn't get beat handily. That was wild work to me. Like, Mississippi State's undefeated. They just played an inferior opponent, beat the crap out of them. How do we know they're not just good? I think they kind of are at least respectable, and right now they deserve to be ranked inside the top 25. So I think that is just another. But like, there are just so many examples of the AP top 25 being so incredibly bad, and Arizona State's a great example of that. However, is that a good look for the league? No, it really, really is not. And yeah, TCU had a big stage, but North Carolina is a 6.5-point dog at UCF this week, which I might like North Carolina in the points there. But then again, my best bets this year so far are a touch under 500. So maybe I'm not the foremost expert on that front. But I think the problem the Big 12 has had in the last couple of weeks is they have had some really ugly moments. There have been a handful of good ones, but I think they've been outweighed by the negative outcomes. And I think come playoff time, unless you put 2 11-win teams in your conference championship game, I don't think the committee is going to give the Big 12 the respect that a lot of people feel they deserve.
Do you think, and I picked BYU in my Big 12 championship preseason because of their defense. They now, again, are the most efficient defense in the country. Number 4, special teams, by the way, 2 things that bode really well for teams that want to win. Do you think, and I want to revisit the way their schedule looks now, at ECU, very winnable, at Colorado, at home against West Virginia, at Arizona, that does look tougher, as we've discussed. But then you have that Utah game looming. I think BYU's undefeated going to that Utah game, and it's a storyline we can build up going into now 3-4 weeks out from that matchup that I will be in attendance at.
It would be incredibly beneficial for the league if BYU were undefeated. Again, the problem is, for a 10-2 at-large, they beat SMU, a playoff team, on the road last year, and they didn't get any serious consideration. Who's their best non-conference win going to be? East Carolina? I don't think that's going to get it done.
Stanford looked better last week.
They did. They did with an interim head coach, and are they still rolling Ben Gulbranson out at quarterback? Goodness gracious, so. That guy has been around for college football for a very long time. But yeah, I think that game said more about Boston College than Stanford necessarily. But hey, good for the Cardinal. We'll see what they can do. But again, the Big 12, I think, missed a couple of key opportunities in the non-conference slate to pick up just any win over the SEC, whether it was Arizona State over Mississippi State or Auburn over Baylor. Even Colorado beating Georgia Tech would have been a really nice one. And to have missed on all of those, and then to also have West Virginia losing to Ohio, and there's one that I'm missing off the top of my head here. Like it just hasn't. Oh, Kansas State losing to Army. Like, you see what I'm saying? I'm not saying it's right or good. Just based on how the committee how they looked at it last year, I don't know what team at 10-2 is the committee going to say, yeah, you're one of the 12 most deserving teams to get into the college football playoff?
Notre Dame. Which, you laugh, but they will. If Notre Dame wins 10 straight, they're still in the AP top 25. Notre Dame will be number 11.
I mean...
Yeah,
they have one team on their schedule that's going to be ranked the rest of the year.
But you'd rather lose your first 2 than your last 2.
That's true. And Notre Dame's brand bias is clear and obvious, still being ranked inside the top 25. Like, Notre Dame being ranked over TCU is ridiculous.
Yeah.
It is. Is TCU wildly impressive so far? If TCU beats SMU, that's this week, right? I cannot fathom how you'd keep them out of the top 25. Yeah, North Carolina's terrible, but they went on the road and they beat them like Georgia beat them in the national title game. Like, what are we doing? They were a 9-win team last year. Their quarterback is returning. Their coaching staff is still intact. They have looked really impressive so far. What do they have to do? Is beating SMU enough? I don't know, because SMU's not ranked now since Baylor's.
Yeah, probably. Sleepy Dave likely saved his job. That's Spencer McLaughlin of Locked On College Football. This has been and always will be Locked On. Thanks for making it your first listen every single day. Dose Grande.